everyone, Zach Pickoff here, and welcome back to another lesson video. Today, I will be going over the 12-1 text. So let's jump right into the video. Okay, so as I had stated before, I'm going to be going over the 12-1 text. So we're starting our new chapter today, and in this chapter, we will be learning about how to prepare payroll records. In addition to that, we will also be learning about how to define accounting terms related to payroll records, identify accounting practices related to payroll records, complete a payroll time card, calculate payroll taxes, complete a payroll register and an employee earnings record, and finally, prepare payroll checks. All right, so now that I've read over the learning objectives, let's jump right into the 12-1 text. Alrighty, so now we're going to be moving on to the 12-1 text, which is the first lesson in Chapter 12. And in this lesson, we will be learning about preparing payroll time cards. Okay, so there are some key terms that I'd like to go over before we start the accounting part of this lesson. So a salary is the money paid for employee services. A pay period is the period covered by a salary payment. A payroll is the total amount earned by all employees for a pay period. And total earnings are the total pay due for a pay period before deductions. All right, next we're going to be talking about analyzing a payroll time card. So what we're essentially looking at here is a payroll time card from Hobby Shack Incorporated. And as you can see here, the employee number is 3. The name of the employee is Rick E. Selby. And the pay period ended is December 15th. Underneath all of that, we have the morning hours, afternoon hours, overtime hours, and total regular and total overtime hours. So if you take a look over here, Rick clocked in for the day at 7:58 a.m. and he clocked out at 12:02 p.m. Almost an hour later, he clocked back in at 12:59 p.m. and then he clocked out for the day at 5:06 p.m. Okay, next we're going to be talking about calculating an employee's hours worked. So when we calculate an employee's hours worked, there are a few steps that we follow when doing this process. First, we calculate the number of regular hours for each day, and then we enter the amounts. Next, we calculate the number of overtime hours, and then we enter the amounts. After that, we add the total regular and total overtime hours columns, and then we enter the totals. And finally, we add the hours column. All right, so the last thing that we're going to be talking about in this lesson is calculating an employee's total earnings. So when we calculate an employee's total earnings, there are a few steps that we follow when doing this process. First, we enter the rate for regular time in the rate column. Next, we calculate the regular earnings, and then we enter the amount. After that, we enter the rate for overtime. Following that, we calculate the overtime earnings, and then we enter the amount. And finally, we add the amount column to calculate the total earnings, and then we enter the amount of the total earnings. Okay, so that is the end of the 12-1 text. In the next video, I will be going over the 12-1 work together. All right, thank you.